Have you noticed how much of our culture is built on chasing? Chase success, chase love, chase confidence, chase the dream life. It's everywhere. Books, social media, even well meaning friends telling you to just keep working on yourself. And if you've been on that path for a while, you know how exhausting it is. You're constantly improving, but the finish line just keeps moving. You achieve something, and almost immediately your mind whispers, not enough. What's next? I want to offer a different perspective, one that completely flips the usual self help narrative. What if the real problem isn't what you're chasing? What if the issue is who you believe you are while you're chasing it? Most people don't realize we're walking around inside an invisible identity, a self concept built from childhood experiences, cultural messages, and thousands of small moments where we felt accepted or rejected. Over time, those moments solidified into an unconscious story. I'm unworthy, I'm unlucky, I'm not enough. Once that story is in place, you act like a lens. You don't see life as it is, you see life through that lens. And life being wonderfully obedient keeps reflecting it back to you. If your lens says, I always struggle with money, opportunities to earn and keep wealth somehow stay just out of your reach. If your lens says, I'm not lovable, relationships mysteriously confirm there. This isn't any type of punishment, it's simply how consciousness works. Think if your awareness like a projector. The light is you, pure limitless consciousness. The film reel is your self concept. Whatever's on the reel gets projected onto the screen we call life. Most of us have spent decades trying to change the movie without touching the reel. And that's why so many self improvements attempts feels like running in place. We try to change in outer circumstances, we work harder, we earn more, we repeat affirmations, but the core identity stays untouched. You can repaint a wall endlessly, but if the wall itself is crumbling, the cracks always show through.
That's such an important shift to see. Because once you realize you're not just the actor in the movie, but also the director and the projector, transformations start to feel possible in a whole new way. We're trained to think that improvement is all about doing. Read more, hustle harder, master the next strategy. But there's a limit to doing if the person doing it still believes deep down that they're not enough. You can upgrade all the actions, but if the identity stays the same, the results eventually snap back. Being, and I know this word can sound big, isn't passivity. It's the deliberate act of choosing who you are at the deepest level. Think about actors preparing for a role. They don't just memorize lines, they inhabit the character's emotions, body language, and inner world. That's what you do when you shift identity. When you declare, I am abundant, or I am love, or I am confident, you're not just saying pretty words, you're taking on a new role. And yes, it might feel strange at first because you've been playing the old role for so long. But this is where real change begins. Identity before evidence. Most people wait for proof before changing how they see themselves. They want the money before they feel abundant. They want the relationship before they feel lovable. They want the opportunity before they call themselves successful. But it works the other way around. First, you decide who you are, then the world reorganizes to match. Now, let's be real. There's usually an integration phase. You don't flip a switch and instantly live in a new reality. Your brain has been running the old story for years. Those neural pathways are deep grooves. When you choose a new identity, you're rewiring the system. It's like upgrading an operating system. Things may feel glitchy for a bit. Old doubts pop up. Circumstances may not shift overnight, but that doesn't mean nothing's happening. It's the bridge between who you've been and who you're becoming. Think of it like learning a new language. Decide, I'm someone who speaks Spanish. Day one, you're not fluent, but suddenly you start noticing Spanish everywhere on menus, on signs and songs. You pick up patterns faster. Your brain starts reorganizing around the new identity. Eventually, speaking Spanish becomes natural, but it started with the decision.
There's some sneaky tracks people fall into here, and I want to call them out so you don't get stuck. One is spiritual bypassing, using this identity work to avoid hard feelings or practical realities. Knowing your consciousness doesn't mean you stop paying bills or you pretend grief or anger don't exist. Real growth includes all human experiences. It's about changing identity while staying present to life. Another is what I call manifestation perfectionism. That's when you obsess about staying perfectly positive and then beat yourself up every time you let fear or doubt come into your life. That just creates a new form of self judgment. Consciousness is vast, it can hold messy emotion. You don't have to police every thought to change your life. And then there's the waiting trap. Delaying your identity until you feel it. You think, I'll call myself successful when I feel successful. But the feeling follows the choice, not the other way around. Decide first. Feelings and evidence show up after. So, how do you actually practice this? Start simple. In the morning, before checking your phone or your to do list, just pause and feel the fact that you're aware. That spark of consciousness behind your thought. Then, throughout the day, when you catch an old pattern, maybe a voice saying, you can't do this, stop and ask, who am I choosing to be right now? If you've claimed abundance, make the decision an abundant person would make. If you've closed love, respond as love would. Small repeated choices anchor the new identity faster than forcing endless affirmations.
And the beautiful ripple effect is something people often underestimate. When you live from a new identity, you're not just changing your own life, you're silently giving others permission to change theirs. You don't have to preach, you don't have to convince anyone. People feel it. If you've ever been around someone deeply confident, not loud fake confidence, but grounded knowing, you know it changes the energy in the room. It opens a door. When you embody abundance, love, wholeness, or peace, your presence alone says this is possible. That's leadership at the deepest level. Not telling people what to do, but living proof that transformation is real. And there's a massive relief that comes with this understanding. You're not broken and trying to earn worthiness. You're not trying to build yourself into something new. You're remembering what's always been there. The striving, the self fixing, the endless searching, they fall away when you realize the light was never damaged. You were never the cracks on the wall, you were always the light shining through. That's why I am is more than a self help slogan. It's the creative command. Every time you say I am, you're setting a direction for consciousness to express. It's not begging the universe, it's selecting a channel. Over time, the world rearranges to reflect what you've chosen.
Though you're tired of chasing, fixing, and waiting for life to validate you, consider this. Stop working on the reflection. Start changing the projector. Don't wait for the external world to confirm your new self. Decide first, live as that person now, and let reality catch up. This doesn't mean ignoring practical action, it means taking action from the identity you've claimed. If you're abundant, how would abundant you handle that email or that investment? If you're love, how would love respond in this conversation? If you're confident, what would confidence make right now? It's a subtle but powerful shift, action from being, not action to become. And yes, someday it will feel wobbly, old stories will whisper, circumstances might test your new choice, but that's okay, just keep choosing. Each time you choose the new stuff over the old conditioning, you deepen the groove of that identity. Eventually, it stops feeling like pretending and starts feeling like home.
If you take just one thing away from this talk, let it be this: you've always had the remote control. You're not fixing a broken life, you're picking the next story. You are the projector, not the film, not the thought you were handed, not the voice that said you weren't enough. Transformation isn't about trying harder, it's about remembering who you really are and letting that truth lead every choice. When you choose your I am, hold steady to the integration and act from the place. Life shifts, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly, but always inevitably. So maybe it's time to stop chasing and start being. Not because doing is bad, but because doing is from the wrong identity. Keeps you stuck. Choose your identity first. Live it now. Watch how reality, like a perfectly obedient mirror, rearranges itself around you.
If today's conversation sparks something in you, don't just keep scrolling. Put it into action. Decide your new I am right now and start living it. Shayna and typed in the comments so others can see what's possible. Also, subscribe and hit your bell if you want more deep, practical tools for conscious creation. And until next time, think differently, dream boldly, and create consciously.
I'm a quiet